And now I would like to turn it over to Dr. Vanessa Gray.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our May 2025 DLIS discussion. We host monthly online conversations, typically focused on a particular topic, which naturally lead into organic conversations about whatever our audience chooses to discuss or share. Today's topic is libraries and community leadership, and I'm so excited to introduce our guests from Marion County Public Library System, Julie Sieg, the director, and Lee Schwartz, the assistant director, who will be presenting today. Lee has worked for over 17 years at the Marion County Public Library System. He received his MLIS from Florida State University, my alma mater, in 2011. He enjoys a well-told story and is addicted to pickleball. Welcome, Lee, and the floor is virtually yours.
Thank you, Vanessa. How did you know about pickleball? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so glad to be here today. I'm going to try and share my screen. Let's see if that works. Hold on one second. Is everyone looking at my screen now? Yes? Yeah? Okay, perfect. All right, so today I'm here to talk about leadership, but in this case, it's our Marion County Leadership Program. And it is about the role that we can all play in making a difference in our communities, but in our organizations, and this innovative approach that Marion County has. And I'll talk about the genesis of this talk first, which is Julie Sieg and I had the opportunity to be in Tallahassee this past year for the library conferences. And when we were up there, many times, her and I separately talked about the leadership culture that we have in Marion County and how our county is really special in the fact that we have the opportunity to share and discuss ideas with partners across the entire community, how we come together and talk about leadership and how we grow this spirit in our county. And it has made all the difference to the library, all the difference to me personally. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about our county leadership program, which started in 2016, and how it's built leaders throughout our organization, how it's changed our culture, how it's made the library better able to serve the community. I want to hear about the challenges and the things that happen in your world. And I also want to talk a little bit about how you might implement some of these innovations into your world, wherever that is. And then I want to highlight the Florida Association of Counties, which is upcoming June 25th, where we have a county commissioner, Carl Zalek, who's going to be speaking about this particularly. And I think it would be great if you could send people from your organization, all different levels, that could be there to hear it from him as well, because I think you'll get a great blueprint on how to be successful in growing leaders in your organization. So I will say, I talk fast, and anytime you want to interrupt me, please do so. And I'm trying to make sure I can see the chat field while I'm doing this. Hold on one second. There we go. And I'll try to keep a look on the chat as well. So please interrupt me if you want. And I will say there's not all library people in this room, even though there's some from Marion County I see in there. There's a few people from the Marion County leadership groups as well in here. So they might feel free to chime in and offer their perspective when I'm talking. So it's not just me talking. I'm honored to be here representing our entire organization to speak about it, because I think at every level of organization, you'll see that people are really on fire for this program. So let's talk a little bit about that and go from there. So, all right, so this next one I think is pictures here. And I chose, I had a selection chose of pictures that kind of illustrate our leadership groups in action, because it's fun to look at pictures too. But I think you'll see from top to bottom that we have a variety of people across our organization that participate in many different ways. So what are our leadership groups? I'll talk about what they currently are and what they came from. So we currently have 5 leadership groups, one for every commissioner. So that means that if a person were selected beyond a group of, say, 10 people, they would come together and they'd have at least 5 years in this program. They'd have a chance to sit at a table with every commissioner. And what does that mean? It means every week we get together, we talk, we eat lunch, of course, we share information. We also delve into books, and we'll talk about that more in a second. We grow personally and we grow together. So it's really unique in the fact that every week for 10 years, I've been talking to a commissioner at lunchtime, and that doesn't happen everywhere. So the power of that you can see initially, but really over time, it just is exponential because so many things have grown out of these leadership groups. I feel like I am talking fast. I'll try to slow down. But basically, there's 5 leadership groups, one for each commissioner. Directors and managers from different departments are selected to be on these groups. And we have these weekly lunches and book discussions. And then we learn about different aspects of the county. In addition to that, we have annual all teams meetings where we have special guests and great lectures. So these are really learning environments. And then many other things that have come out of that. But I will say it's very dynamic what we're doing. We just recently had a 5 leadership group lunch where we all got together. And I'm not even part of this group anymore, but I just love free lunch, but I also love being there to get excited about it. And it was just an amazing opportunity because you can see the power of everyone working together and really feel it in our county. So there's 1,600 employees, and just the fact that we can really make a difference that way is exceptional. So the people in this picture, the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see it's a bowling night out, and there's one of our commissioners with our employees. The person on the right I want to shout out is our county administrator, Monier Briones, who started this program along with Commissioner Zalek. And I will say I'm very proud to work in Marion County because we have great leadership, and I think great leaders beget other great leaders. And so one of the challenges, or one of the points of this program, is to develop that in each other, to hold each other accountable and do those different things. And Monier is an amazing leader who really incorporates all the principles and values that we have as a county, and we'll get more on that later. But I don't think without he and the vision of the commissioners to make this possible, it would be possible. But because they embrace it and they cultivate this in our organization, it really does change the dynamic of where we work. So that's Monier. And then the other ones are other leadership group meetings, like either the all county leadership group meeting or whatever, where we talk about different aspects of leadership, how to cultivate that in ourselves, how to bring our teams along, how to develop people. It really is a really introspective, I don't know, interaction with each other. So, that's the first talk I'll talk about, but this wasn't built overnight. So right now what we see is very dynamic, but it started, 2016 with Monier, Commissioner Zalek, and a few limited directors to say, let's take a book and let's talk about this book and let's see where this goes. So a few weeks in a row they did that, more than a few weeks in a row. But I think at libraries, we know the power of books, the power of coming together around a book, around a topic, and really discussing it. There's really strength in that. And so that's what they did. And they worked out some of the kinks of the operation, and then they expanded it from there. So a few more directors were added on, and so on and so on until what we have today. And then we have something called bridge leadership, which I'll talk about too. So we're expanding the idea of leaders coming together, talking about leadership and working with each other more than we ever have. So again, there was probably, like any organization, we have our struggles, but when we started initiating this, and now over time, how it's come together, we've overcome so many things that I don't think would have been possible without it. So before I go any further, I'm going to show a little video, and this video is from Commissioner Zalek, so one of the original founders of this movement in our county. And he's going to talk about our county leadership groups, and he's really, this was in his application, or their application for the Florida Association Counties Talk, which I'll show at the end, the dates for that. But I think this will give you a better overview than I just did of what county leadership is here, and we'll go from there. So here we go. Let me see if this works.
Is your organization struggling with things like silos, conflicts, or maybe just inefficiencies, making it harder to build stronger connections, fostering that teamwork you've been looking for, or working towards shared goals? Well, leadership development programs can be a game changer, boosting employee engagement up to 70%. That's why more than half of the workforce in the U.S. would consider switching to a role that offers development opportunities. While only 10% of people are natural born leaders, the great news is leadership skills can be cultivated through targeted development programs. And as a response to the need for deeper connections and a shared commitment through the organization, Marion County leadership teams were born in 2016.
For me, the leadership program in Marion County has really been instrumental. Working in one department, you kind of only understand the role that maybe you're fulfilling for the community. But being a part of the leadership program, you get to see how everyone works together and how we're all working towards the same vision for the citizens. So that's probably been the most eye-opening experience that I've gotten out of it.
Really, when you're talking about breaking down silos, you're talking about humanizing each other, and you're talking about adding efficiencies and, hey, we're having this problem, you're having this problem, here's what we've done, here's what you've done. I don't see a better program than to do this every week with these same people, and you're literally doing life together, you're doing work life together with this group.
So it's definitely helped me understand my role in helping others achieve success. It's taught me to be a lot more patient with others as well, and to also see what everyone in our team can bring to the table.
So the books are helpful, but what I've taken back to my team is new communication skills, but also a lot more confidence in myself as a leader in this organization. Most of my staff have been here for several years. I haven't even been here for a full year. So having that confidence has just really helped me become a better leader to my team.
These teams provide a platform for department leaders to inspire and be inspired, sharing leadership concepts, best practices through leadership book discussions, and sharing a meal together. In Marion County, we are so committed to this program that one of our assistant county administrators is personally overseeing its success.
That's right, Commissioner Zalek. The goal of the teams is to cultivate exceptional leaders from right here at home who can deliver outstanding results, inspire their departments, and strengthen our dedication to serving the Marion County community. This program is designed for individuals to participate in leadership teams for 3 to 5 years, culminating in a final meeting with senior staff to reflect on their experience and discuss future opportunities. During their time in leadership teams, individuals get a chance to network with their peers from other departments, share a meal with friends, and read challenging books on leadership best practices. And they get the unique opportunity to connect with the county commissioner. Marion County currently has 5 teams consisting of approximately 75 directors and managers carefully chosen to ensure a broad representation of the county's leadership.
Our leadership team meetings are more than just simple discussion groups. They're opportunities for growth and connection. These meetings typically take place during lunch, providing that relaxed setting where colleagues can share a meal, dive into leadership topics, and talk about what they're experiencing. Led by 2 individuals, these meetings focus on real-world issues that our team members are facing in their roles. We use a variety of techniques, including icebreakers, field trips, thought-provoking leadership books, to keep the discussion and engaging in relevant opportunities. And the really cool part is the networking doesn't stop there. Every quarter, our teams come together for all teams leadership event and then an annual Marion County Leadership Summit, where we partake in either the Global Leadership Summit or a LeaderCast virtual event. This annual event allows our teams to fully immerse in leadership practices from all facets of life. We also invite really cool local speakers as our guests to tell us what leadership means to them and their business and what they're doing in the community. Let's take a closer look at the key steps for implementing leadership teams in any organization.
Step 1, identify who in your organization should be on the team. For Marion County, we began with our senior management level. As the program began to grow, we expanded to include other leaders in our organization as well. Remember, when selecting your team members, ensure a balance of departments and personalities to promote well-rounded perspectives. Step 2, choose your team leaders. In Marion County, we have 2 team co-leaders for each team, and the county administrator meets with them at the beginning of each year prior to the kickoff of the annual team meeting. In this meeting, we discuss crucial information such as scheduling and the structure and goals of our team meetings. Step 3, organize your teams. Our teams are each named after a color, but you feel free to use any word, any animal, or any other theme that helps foster unity and connection within your organization. Step 4, find a creative way to introduce each year's teams as they are renewed annually, making the process engaging and memorable. For Marion County, we do this at our annual leadership summit. Remember, the ultimate goal of this program is that our graduates go on to be ambassadors for the program, mentoring emerging leaders and sharing their valuable insights. Some even choose to co-lead the county's Bridge Leadership Program. The Bridge Leadership teams complement our county's leadership teams by identifying and nurturing emerging leaders who are on a management career path.
Thanks, Amanda. By investing in our leaders, we're not just building a stronger workforce. We're cultivating a community of servant leaders who prioritize the needs of others and inspire excellence. So whether you're a large county, a rural county, big or small, it doesn't matter. If you need help on your leadership journey, we're always there and available to help.
All right. Well, that's tough to follow. So I will say it's really more than I can even describe the feelings I get when I see that, because nothing has really changed our organization more than this movement throughout our organization. So hearing Commissioner Zalek say those words, knowing that so many people in our organization in the county live those words, it's really inspiring to work here, and it's a great thing. So thinking about leadership teams and how they're formed, we spoke about it a little bit, or they spoke about it in the video a little bit, but we are careful. Monir is very careful in how he puts the teams together. He wants to make sure that there is diversity, that people are represented from all the different aspects of the county government, that people, we all take the DISC training assessment, and we have different personalities. We want to make sure that everything is represented on these teams. So having a diverse team, I will say, we just had a book that we did called Disney's Secret Sauce, which is about the culture and customer service of Disney. And Mary Flynn is the author. And I was speaking with her about our leadership groups lunch ago. And she had said, you know, everyone thinks that these things that we're talking about are very simple, which the concept is very simple, but it's a lot of work to make these things successful. So a lot of dedication and commitment to this process is what's going to make it successful. And I think that is what we have here. And you've seen it over 10 years. It's taken to get this program to be exceptional, but it's worth every minute of investment to that. So, and I don't know, right here, I might talk about if any of the other Marion County people want to talk about it, and you want to raise your hand or jump in, you can if you like. But just feel free, because I know it's not me that feels this way. It's everyone that feels this way. So some of the things that came out of leadership aren't just what we talked about. I mean, we are breaking down silos, and we are more collaborative. But what does that really mean? So I thought I might take a time to talk about some of the things that came out of our leadership process. One is we have in Marion County this high card is what we call it. So we always are ready to play the high card, which is our core values as an organization. And it is integrated so many different ways, and it came out of these leadership groups. What does represent us? Humbleness, integrity, commitment, accountability, respect, and discipline. And when I think of this, I really do think of Monir, the leader who put this in place, because it, to me, speaks to him, but it also speaks to so many people at our organization. And we do value character here, and it shows because we highlight that in so many different ways, whether that is in the hiring process and the interviewing or in the evaluation process, all those different things. We have a common vocabulary because of this program. So we speak about these values and we refer to them all the time. When we go through a different book, for instance, we'll pick up one or two things. So one would be right people on the bus. That's a phrase that people throw around during the hiring process. We also have the Hungry, Humble, Smart from the Ideal Team Player book. We have an award named after that. And we do speak about these values that we have. and this vocabulary from these books all the time. So library people know the power of books. They know the power of coming together around books. And I see it play out now every year over and over again. So some other things, we have the Empowering Marion for Success, our plan to move the county's work forward. We have employee appreciation now based on our high card values, our high card heroes. So we work together to make sure our employees are better appreciated. We collaborate for something we call Marion County Day, which is all the departments come together to show off and brag about Marion County in a big festival-like atmosphere. And we bring in vendors and all these different types of things. But it is an amazing experience to see that employees who maybe 10 years ago didn't feel this way love coming out to those things and sharing their time and their talent to trumpet what their different departments do. And for the library, it's very special because, you know, we sign up library cards, we get an opportunity to go on a hayride and do some storytelling. We have other things that we do, and every department gets to shine on that day. So it's really a community event, but it just shows you another thing that came out of our leadership groups, that in addition to our citizens academies, our employee academies, our new library employee academy, those are all things that are directly, you can trace right back to our leadership groups and those ideas, and that just collaboration is really top of mind. So those are just some of those things. Speaking of books, so I have an entire list that I guess I will email, but this is most of them that we've done over time, not counting the Disney one that I just spoke about, Disney Secret Sauce. But each one of these books, we all schedule like 3 a year where we sit down and read them, and then we discuss them, and then we come back together as a group and we talk about them. So you know that the more you put into this process, the more you get out of it, just like any learning process. So having people come together and talk about concepts, think about ideas, think about themselves and maybe their weaknesses and strengths and how to benefit the organization. Every one of these books has made a difference to us and to me. And so, yeah, maybe it's being a more efficient meeting, what makes an employee really stick to something, all those different generations, any question that you might have with how your organization works, how could it function better, all those different things are addressed. And if not here in the group, when you're just talking, you talk about applying it to your work in everyday life. You actually see a lot of people, the more comfort you get being in those rooms, the more you're apt to talk about the challenges that you have and how to overcome them. And that's not just for me or the person next to me, but it could be for the commissioner and the challenges that they have. We can really help solve problems together, help make each other great. And so leadership groups are a way that we can come together and do that. So, and it really does happen here. So let me take the next slide here. Let's see. I'm running out of time, I think, maybe. All right, bridge group. So David Freudenberg will recognize this bridge. It's the bridge between the Forest Public Library and the Forest Community Center, but it symbolizes something. And our bridge leadership groups, well, I'll tell you how, well, it's meant to instill these same principles and everything throughout our organization in a more efficient way. And so some people like David Freudenberg, I see Pam Driggers in here, and myself, we were in 5 years of leadership and we love it and we can't get enough of it. We can't stop talking about it. And we get a chance, an opportunity to lead other people in this same process. So taking everything that we know, introducing employees throughout our county to this leadership concept, to bring them into these conversations, to prepare them for whatever their next steps are, whether that be just to be amazing in their work group, whether it's to take a larger role in the county, or whether they might go into the leadership groups that are already existing. This bridge opportunity is what we call it, the Bridge Leadership Program, is where we get a chance to do that. So we inspire each other. Yeah. All right, there we go. And so, yeah, it's just an amazing option or opportunity. And the same way that we select is a director has to submit someone's name. This person has potential. This person will take it seriously. This person will be dependable and invest time in the process. They do that, and then there's a selection, and then we also have a big reveal about who's on what team and how that goes. So we try to make it convenient as much as possible for the people. And during all these leadership group meetings, we also take the opportunity to learn about each other. So we learn not just about each other personally, but about our role in the community and our jobs and what we do, and we often have field trips where we see how other people function in their job. For instance, at the library, we feed children in our libraries over the summer. So one year we brought leaders to our library and let them help serve the meals. So it showed in a real way the job that we do where they may not have ever experienced it. So that's what leadership does there. So what is the impact? Some of those things I was talking about, how we hire new employees has changed, how we onboard and train new employees has changed. I'll give you a really a nice idea how the knowledge of each other has changed. So I will say I've learned more about our county by participating in leadership. I know everyone has, and I know they have learned more about the library. So we're more knowledgeable. We're able to help our citizens better. We know our resources better, and we can serve patrons better. But for instance, at a commissioner meeting, when we were adding new positions onto our library system, we asked for a certain amount of lead time because we need time to not only hire, but to properly train and onboard people. And when the topic came up, Commissioner Zalek jumped right in and he said, oh, yeah, I get it. The library needs that time because he knows, because in leadership, we talked about our onboarding process. We brought our binder out. We talked the experience of how important it is to get people trained and ready to work. So there was no doubt, and it was just a fact, that's what we need. And so that's one way it helped us, but it also helps library employees take a more active role throughout the county. So we are library employees on more hiring panels than we've ever been across the county system. So we might be on a parks hiring panel, for instance. We are taking a more active role in our procurement by being on the RFQ and RFP panels. So every chance we get, library employees are participating more and more people understand what each other's do. So there's nothing better than these groups to bring that out, because it's very easy to say they don't do anything over there. But when you see like, oh, that's Lee, well, yeah, he does stuff and he tells me about it all the time. He doesn't stop talking about it. So it's a great way for us to champion our value to each other and to really support each other. That's how it impacts not just the library system, but our county and our community. So this is the Florida Association of Counties presentation that I was referencing a few times here, from silos to synergy. I would recommend you tell anybody in the organization about it because it is how we do collaborate at the county level and make a real difference. So I think it would benefit anybody to hear this information and think about how to adapt it in their organization. So tell everyone you know. Okay, and that's me in a nutshell, and that's right on 30 minutes. I did it, Vanessa. But yeah, feel free, please, to reach out anytime. Or we'll talk more about everything. If anyone has questions or wants to chime in, that's great. But even after this, if you think, oh, I wanted to ask this or I'm interested in this, please call or email me, and I'll be happy to answer any question I can. So
Thank you so much, Lee. That was phenomenal. I'm sure we have questions from the audience or anyone that might have participated in the program. If they would like to talk, feel free to come off mute or post in the chat.
Oh, I want to call some people out today.
Okay.
All right, so I see Pam over there. She is an inspirational leader in our county and really has made a difference to so many people. She's not from the library, so that she has that against her, but she still is an amazing person. So
okay, there I hit the right button. Can you hear me? Okay. I've been in leadership since the beginning. I've been through with every county commissioners and did all the leadership seminars and that, and it's been great, awesome to be with. If any of your libraries within your department, within your county, city, I highly recommend this opportunity to establish your own leadership programs, because I've been with Marion County now career-wise since 1994. And once the leadership program started, it's really made a big difference within not just our department, but throughout the whole county, communicating and knowing what getting to know what each department does. And now I can pick up the phone and say, you know, with our fleet department, even our fleet, utilities, all of them, I can say, well, I have this problem. How did you deal with it? And so we're really partnering together, and that's just not the department. And also for the summer, we're looking at the libraries to work with the libraries and establish a program and working with the kids and Julie and Lee going out to the libraries throughout the county and having a reading program for the county. You know, getting Spark the Dog and, you know, Spark the Dog book and the actual somewhere in the costume. So it's collaborating between all of us. And so it's not about us, it's about helping our citizens, but it's making us better. Yes, no?
Thank you, Pam. I'm curious if any other people in the room that aren't from Marion County have any leadership programs of any kind or any way they collaborate throughout the community.
Lee, I wanted to talk a minute about how one could get started and what it takes to have a successful program. And I think it's basically the same answer. You get started and you are successful by being committed. Our county administrator and our county commission are committed to this program. They attend the weekly sessions, and the benefit of sitting down with a county commissioner, getting to know that person getting to know you, as well as everybody else in the group. The benefit of that is so far beyond what I imagined. Having that common vocabulary is so unifying in our understanding of the needs of our organization, the expectations within our organization. Any of us in our leadership program, and as was stated in the video, there are 70 some people. There are more people, additional people that have graduated from the program. Any of us, as the video states, would be happy to talk with your organization about how to get started. And I like to try to say things in a positive way, but the only way I can think to say this is you will be amazed at the results. Simply amazed, and how far-reaching those results are. So I'll be quiet now. Oh, and I'm Julie Sig, by the way. I'm not Lee Schwartz.
Yeah, you're not. I was also going to say about that, Julie, is we were talking the other day at lunch because Julie and Heather are in a leadership group, and I went there to say, like, I have to give this little talk and I want to share information. And then they were like, hey, I want to come too, is what happened there. So I only invited a few people because I know if I sent an email to people that are in leadership, they would all be here. Like, I couldn't stop them from showing up for me, and they couldn't stop me from showing up for them. So I think that is very exceptional. It really says a lot about our county because, I mean, where else will all these different departments still pull for each other like that? And a common purpose. We're driven together. It's really exciting to be here for that. But
Hi, my name is Heather, and I'm also a staff person at the Marion County Public Library System. And I just wanted to speak from the perspective of being able to go through the elaborate onboarding process that we do, being a recipient of that. And I want to say that doing that made me so incredibly proud of my library system. I got to see every location, and I came in during the summer and like the peak season of when we have so many people in the building, and I got to see how a staff work together, how they roll with situations, and how they build an amazing resource for the community. And so I always had that. But I think the thing that leadership brought to it there is I now have such a deep and well understood pride for my county. I always had the pride in my library system as a Marion County library, but now getting to work with all these other departments and all these other directors and other staff in these departments, I have a pride for my county that I didn't have. Not that I didn't have it before, but it's so deep now and it's so well understood. And that as a library person, that when people ask me questions, I know who knows this information. I know so much of what our county can do for every citizen that walks in the door. And I just want to say that that is like, I think one of the big takeaways that I had is that it's made me a better librarian, and it's given me, and I've lived here for a long time, so it's given me such a better understanding of my county and a deeper pride for it. So that's it.
Thank you, Heather and Pam and Julie, for sharing all the wonderful things that's going on in your county. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or would like to unmute themselves and share or post in the chat? I think we asked a question earlier. Is there anybody in other counties that have a similar program or would like to start one? I think he's provided a great foundation. That's hard to beat, Lee.
well, to Julie's point, I think it didn't start that way. It started as an idea of a acorn, of a kernel of a thought. Let's do this because it's important. But thinking about the determination to make it what it has turned into, I mean, that really does take people a lot of effort. I will say the bridge group too, that we're leading, we launched it once and it was okay successful, but not as successful as it could be. And so we thought about how to make it better and how to adapt, and really committed to growing it in a certain way. So there will be a challenge, and I don't know if you live in an environment or a county or a culture where this maybe not is accepted, but there's a lot of ways you could implement this, I think, in your organization. Even non-leadership program groups, like we take these books, there's a leadership library in our HR. And so a work group might say, I want to go over a book, and they'll check out all those books. And then a group of supervisors will do it together, or a work group will do it together. And those same lessons that we all get to share get shared on a different level. So I know I see Jenny in here. I know she took her group that she supervises through the Brene Brown book together. I think it's just amazing that, and there's many of those ad hoc. Let's form a group and let's do this book together. It's kind of the beauty of libraries in a way, that we love sharing information, and I think it's just a natural way that libraries can lead in a process like this. We are great at making book discussion questions and carrying on conversations and all those different things that come naturally to library people. We can really lead in that way. So I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And he's absolutely correct, and so is Julie. You do not, if you do not have this within your department or your city or county, you can do this actually within your own department. Start it out there. start, pick a book and start, start from scratch and build and see how well your employees within your own library, how well diverse and how much unity that you bring together. It's more than just reading a book, because at first you may think, wow, what's a book? Well, we all read books, yes. But if you take what's in those books, the good, and some of the books have different leadership qualities and suggestions. So you take what fits for your group and you expand on those. And it brings you together as a group, and it makes it much more personal other than just fully coming to work. And it makes it where you want to come to work and you want to be part of your library group or your department group or whichever department. It's more than just reading a book. It's coming together as a more family. And that's what we're doing. Marion County is a family.
I agree with everything she said.
I'd like to mention the high card that was in that presentation that we went through. And it really helps when everybody is centered on the same, the word just went, ideals, the same values. And that high card is part of our DNA. Really, it is. And all of those things help make all of these leadership groups successful as well. Because there we go. There's our high card, folks. But it really is helpful.
Our county administrator went and took our high card and made it a card size so we can carry these with us. And on the front is the high card, on the back is our vision and our mission. So we have these all in our wallets. And also in the back of our fire department ID cards, instead of just having a regular ID card, our sheet put it on the back of our cards. Every firefighter has this on our cards.
So
I think I have the best fire chief ever. Just saying that. Julie, and I will say, Julie, I've known Julie since we first started in leadership together in 2016. So I think she's the best library director. And I'm saying none of you may not be, but
So Vanessa had said there was a question submitted. I'd be interested to see if anyone in Marion County might have an answer to this. Was there a particular relationship, connection, or program that proved the most transformative or impactful, and how do you secure that relationship? So, I mean, I think all these relationships are built over the table, like one-on-one and in these groups, and every one of them has had impact on our work. So. I do think it's interesting that you have an opportunity to sit with the commissioner in a way that probably isn't available most places, and get to know them and then serve with them in other capacities, whether they come to more library events or they do different things. They're part of our community and we can invite them more easily. And I don't know, the impact is really uncalculable or incalculable, whichever way that would be said. That's the way I'm trying to say it. But I talked about some of the things that came from it, like the high card and the onboarding and Marion County Day and all these things. But I think we are able to adapt as an organization quicker than most, because something will come up and it will get passed down through these leadership groups and go out and all hands on deck very quickly. if we need to start doing something in a certain direction. So that's my feeling anyhow.
I think overall, it's the shared vocabulary, the shared understanding of the concepts. And from a director's perspective, the getting the right person in the right seat on the bus. There's a better understanding of hiring for a good fit, not just because they meet minimum qualifications. There's an understanding that you might have a position that's vacant for quite a while because you're looking for that right fit, not just a warm body. And so the transformative benefits are ongoing and unexpected. But it's like we're uncovering the benefits all the time.
We talk about the ideal team player a lot because that's one of our awards. And the three characteristics are hungry, humble, and smart. And David Freudenberg talks about this better than anybody, I think. But when we're at an interview table and a person is giving their answers and we're interacting with them, if they're not humble people, you recognize that quicker than we ever have before. We know that's not going to be a great team player. That person probably won't be a good fit for our organization. And we can just say that, like, to each other afterwards, like, nah, I don't think so because of that reason. Or that person maybe isn't driven, and they're not hungry to grow and learn and to contribute. That vocabulary in that way too. And smart, a person that can work with other people, understand personalities, and understands how to work as a team. I don't know, in the last 10 years, the evolution of that in our organization, and I don't think it's overnight, and I don't think it's like you're saying, Julie, we uncovered it as we go, and it just more illuminating every day. But it's powerful. I mean, it's powerful when you live it and you feel it. So.
Are there any other questions? Thank you for answering that, Julie and Lee. I don't know. I think that your presentation covered pretty much everything. Yeah.
Well, thank you to Erin Arnold. I see her in there. She made this presentation with very little direction. I said, here's some pictures and here's the thing, and you make it into a thing. And she said, yes. And so if it's great, it's on her. And if it's bad, it's on me because I'm not presenting well. But thank you.
Extremely thorough. Melissa said in the chat, it's very thorough. We have 10 more minutes in our discussion. Are there any other questions or comments or anything anyone would like to share about what's going on in their libraries, any upcoming happenings? I know in libraries there's a lot going on, so someone has something to share. Or you can post in the chat too if you have something going on.
Well, one thing that I wanted to mention for libraries, taking a leadership role within the community. I would say we haven't had this program as widely circulated as I would like, but the community conversations program, where we essentially invite people to sit down and talk around a particular topic, it's been transformational for individuals who have attended. As I said, we have not held those programs as much as I would have liked. It is branch driven at each location, but the stories that come out of it, where people sit down, members of the community, they sit down, they talk about particular topics and their experiences, and they might sit down initially and think that they are worlds apart and learn very quickly that everybody around the table, we're not so different. We're more alike than we are different. And to me, it demonstrates leadership within the community just to have those kinds of conversations. Facilitated conversations where we have a common value, a common experience, or see things from a different perspective.
Absolutely. I often think that everybody is a walking book, and if you just open your mouth and communicate and unlock the story within that person, you discover that you have a lot in common. Absolutely. Yvonne Cook says, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yvonne Cook says in the chat, we are starting a community engagement project, so this was helpful. Rural library system, 9 branches in 3 counties. That's awesome, Yvonne. Thank you for sharing that.
I love that program Julie was speaking about, because I think one of the questions one time was, talk about a time a small kindness made a big difference in your life. That was the question. And so they have a month to think about it, and then they all come in and share coffee and donuts and just talk. It's so amazing and powerful. Another way we did that, and this is actually how I met that Mary Flynn, who wrote that book, is we recreated the game show I've Got a Secret. We had celebrity panelists, and all we would do is get the stories from people about what's their secret, what's their story, and then people would have to guess what it is, and then at the end, Mary Flynn was a greeting card writer. I'm giving away the at one time in her life she was a greeting card writer, but she got up and was able to share that experience that maybe no one heard about, and it was just a fun afternoon. So any way that you get people to tell their stories, I think, is powerful, because it does speak to our greater humanity and how we come together more than we come apart. So oh, Heather, you should speak about right service, right time in our library system. I know it's statewide, but we are really making taking a leadership role in our community in this way. So maybe that would be good.
Sure. So the Orange County Library System started a platform, a database called the Right Service at the Right Time. And what it is a library staff updated resource of health needs, food needs, shelter needs, things that we would normally keep a folder of ourselves for our local interests, but put all on a database and managed and updated by library staff. And it's great because of that ability for it to be updated. And they are always looking for counties to step in and manage their part of Florida. And so this year, actually, I think we started a little bit last year. We have stepped in as Marion County to add and edit and update the entries for Marion County. And it was very timely because 211 is discontinuing their services in July. So that we are going to be a resource that patrons are seeking out to find resources in our community. And once we said yes, it was nothing short of magical about how many people I ran into that provide services that I'd never heard of. It was as soon as we opened the door, the flood came through, and we are excited to be able to provide this information to patrons. And we know that patrons come to the libraries seeking help when they're homeless or experiencing any of those conditions that can lead to distraught in our county. And we are going to have all of that information readily available, easily accessible for them if they prefer to use the website, but also at our fingertips so that we can assist them with finding resources. And I think the biggest one too is it's also for the providers so that when they have reached the end of what they can do, they can get them started with the next step.
So just to clarify, 211 is not going away in the state. It is
I'm
still
sorry.
those counties that pay for that service, but our county decided to discontinue paying for that service. So 211 still exists for your county if your county pays for it.
Thank you, Julie, for clarifying. I apologize.
But in conjunction with these leadership groups, I think this is pretty dynamic because the word of right service, right time is getting out better than it has been in the past because we're sharing that information in these groups. And we're also getting other organizations coming in because people are connecting us easier. So just the connection aspect of our leadership groups in this context is making a difference. So.
Thank you, Heather. And I posted the link to rightserviceflorida.org in the chat for those who would like to take a look at that. We have 3 more minutes to our discussion. Before we go, I do want to share a discussion topic for next time so y'all can come back and have another engaging conversation. It'll be on community resilience planning, disaster planning, mitigation, and recovery. So those libraries who we all have experienced some form of that, especially in the past year. So I'm looking forward to learning more about how we can help each other as a library community and so we can help serve our communities. But I also want to thank you so much, Lee and Julie and all your colleagues who joined us today and shared your insights and experience with your leadership program. I want to join. I'm like, how can I sign up for that? That is amazing. And I have some new books I need to read from that list that you showed. So I've read some of Patrick Leontani's books, but I didn't know he wrote the other one. So I'm definitely going to add that to my electric library. So we are at 3:58. If there's no one who would like to or have anything to share about anything that's going on in their libraries or any comments or any questions, I can give you back 2 minutes back to your day. We appreciate everybody joining us today. It was amazing.
Thank you, Vanessa, for everything. Thank you.
And we have posted in the chat our BLD post-webinar survey. Please complete that and let us know other topics you would like for us to have. We like to create experiences for you that is beneficial and that can help you in your needs. So please share your feedback on our discussion and anything in the future you would like to talk about. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl says, thank you. Great information today. Awesome, awesome. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.